I think what may have changed, in my view, was the democratization of the space for civil society. I think from whatever I have read about that era, about the way policies were formed around that era, it was a very closed system in the sense that it was completely confined to the bureaucracy. So the interesting part is that this was not the case in the early days of after independence, in the 1950s, the Nehru era mostly, where Nehru was quite, at least contemporaries of Nehru and Nehru himself, was open to taking feedback and consult with experts, especially economists and also other scientific experts. This culture changed quite a bit after his demise, and it became kind of confined to the bureaucracy, and they became very suspicious of any kind of outside information. One of the interesting anecdotes that I had read once was that around around 70s, late 70s, the Gujarat government had given some think tank in Gujarat assignment to find out the effect of prohibition, and their finding was that it wasn't working, but the government did not want to accept it. So what they did was they just did not publish that research. So those kinds of things became common. So the role of outside expertise became very marginalized. I think this started changing after liberalization because it was very clear that the bureaucrats did not have the necessary expertise on many of the things that were coming up. Say the telecom sector, for example, or any other private, where we have to regulate private players, which is the big change that happened after liberalization, that there were a whole slew of private players in different sectors, and there had to be some regulation. And it's not just controlling them, but regulating in a fair manner where they had a level playing field with public as well as private. And in that, they needed the expertise from outside. And also, I think a few years down the line with liberalization, I think the middle class in India kind of burgeoned. The income levels rose quite a bit, and which is why people also started getting interested in participating in governance and democracy rather than just being recipients of goods and services from the government. They were interested in being equal partners in the process. And also, I think around that time there was also a change even in the world, there was a change in perception of the role of government. So it kind of changed from just government to governance, and this happened I think around late 80s.